changed my mind. I've had some comments about a previous video. I made a peg bag as a 3-minute skill, and the thing I was actually looking to demonstrate was a buttonhole, it's an encapsulated buttonhole. But I've got a couple of comments that I didn't actually show how to make the bag, which wasn't really feasible in the 3-minute format, so I'm going to do it again in the same sort of way. So I'm actually making a bag for my clamps. Now, this is how I'm currently storing them. I've got about another 15 or 20 that obviously don't fit in the pot, so I'm going to make a bag to put them in. So, here's my excuse to make a bag. So what I've got is just some old bedsheet fabric, just a bit of cotton, and some slightly thicker fabric. You don't need to use a thicker fabric in the shed. It's probably not a good idea to have decent fabric in the shed because it's excuse me, it's going to get dusty and whatever. But I've got some offcuts of tablecloth, so that should be fine down the shed. Obviously, if you're doing a peg bag, then you want something fancy, maybe something waterproof. That's entirely up to you. Now, my lining is cut to fit my hanger. Now, you could use an actual wooden clothes hanger and just cut it down slightly. This is a piece of pallet wood with a hook screwed in. This is 20 centimetres long by about 1 inch wide, and I've cut my lining to 24, so that allows for kind of movement and for fit. So I've marked out my opening. I'm going to do a triangular opening rather than just a slot, because I won't be able to get your hand in. So first things first, you need to pin these together. So I'm just going to put a couple of pins around the buttonhole just to hold the fabric so it doesn't shift. So that's that ready to go. Put the other piece of fabric to one side and just get the sewing machine out. I've just got this set up on a straight stitch, about 2 or 3 millimeters long. Doesn't need to be very tight. So I'm just going to follow my line all the way around. My tension's playing up as well, but never mind. Does that from time to time. First part of my buttonhole done. Now I just need to cut out the opening, so just pinch and cut in. So I'm going to make sure that I go out to the corners as close as I dare. That. Take out these pins. And then push the lining through the hole. Like that. So you can press this if you really want to. I'm not going to bother. I'm just going to pin these edges together so they sit flat. Now I've done this bit before, so I'm not going to really dwell on this. We do this bit. Now you need to sort out the bag itself. So I'm going to start with the outside bag. So what I'm going to do first is just tuck all of this out of the way. A couple of pins just to hold this fabric flat so it doesn't get tangled in anything. So, I've got my other piece of fabric here. Put these right sides together. So that's your opening side to this side. Just line them up. I only drew the outline on this one. Don't need it on the other. Again, press it if you want to. I'm just going to hold it down. And just stick a couple of pins in just to hold this in place. So, when I mark these up, I've put a little mark on the centre point here where the hook goes in. So I want to start sewing just maybe half an inch away from that mark and then stop about half an inch away from that mark. This is a really simple one, it's all straight lines. Obviously if you're using a hanger that's got the curve to it, you need to match that curve on the fabric. I've gone all the way around and I've left a gap at the top here, and you're thinking now I've made a bag and I've closed myself out of it, but I haven't. So I'm just going to quickly whiz around and just trim off the excess to about a centimetre or so, about half an inch. If you're concerned about your fabric, then use pinking shears, it should stop it from fraying. This stuff is quite stable, so I'm not concerned. I'm just cutting in the corners so they'll fold in neatly. Okay, so that's the outside bag done. That. Now I need to work on the inside bag. So I'm just going to remove all my pins. And instead I'm going to tuck in the outside bag. So just turn it over and just tuck in these edges, just so they're out of the way again. You'll end up over sewing everything and having to unpick and cut things off and being frustrated and all that kind of stuff, so avoiding difficulty that way. Round. You're going to leave a gap at the top again. But we're not going to go all the way around to the bottom. So, just to remind myself, I'm going to put a stop, so I'm going to put one pin in that way so that I remember to stop and not carry on all the way around. So, that's all the sewing done. Now you've got two bags kind of stuck to each other as Siamese twins. So, just remove anything that's hanging around, it's going to bother me. I'm got my opening at the bottom here, so I'm going to go in through the opening and then through into the other bag, and just hang on to the bottom corners here and just pull them through like that, and then bring this bag out. I'm not done sewing it. Bring the inner bag out, and I just want to tuck back the excess here and just sew that closed. You don't need to, but I don't want my bits and pieces to get stuck on the inside or stuck between bags. So that's all the sewing done. Now I just want to push the lining bag into the big bag and just help it down a bit. If you really want to, you can put a couple of stitches in the corners and kind of match the lining and the outside together. Oh, you don't particularly need to. So just make sure your corners are pushed out. It's looking neat. And leftover bits of thread. So that is pretty much the bag made. Like that. So I'm just going to unscrew my hook. And push it into the bag, and then turn it around and push it up to the top. That. And then find your opening, find your hole right there, and just there you go. Et voila! One new clamp bag. So that is the process of making any kind of bag like this, so that you can use this technique for a peg bag or tools, or if you put a hole in the bottom, you can use it for holding carrier bags and that kind of thing. Entirely up to you. So that is my new clamp bag. And I'll see you again next week.